divorce is a death that never dies. And so what he means by that is you mourn as if the person is dead, but they're always alive, because every time you see them, you relive that death.
This was a session.
Yeah.
This was a session. I needed that. Forget coming on here talking about what to do in business and giving advice. No, I needed this because this is something that we don't think about this a lot, especially as entrepreneurs, and then we're trying to perform at a high level. And
My man Mike, what's up, bro?
What's going on?
Thanks for being here,
man,
brother.
I appreciate you for having me.
Yo,
Yep.
bro, so we go to Rich and Fit together.
Yep.
That's where we met.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happened that every time there's a deep conversation happening, I get pulled into it some way, somehow.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I'm the big uncle or something at Rich and Fit.
Right.
And we talk about marriage.
Yeah, a lot. Yep.
And so there have been some things going on in your world, and I know we're going to get there.
Right.
But how old are you? You're married, and that was one of the things that I noticed about you, because you work out with your ring on.
Yeah. Well, I did, yeah.
You did.
Yeah, it did. But 24, got married less than a year ago. Probably like 10 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But been in a relationship for like 4 years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And, you know, that's kind of difficult, but being an entrepreneur and stuff. So,
Yeah.
trying to run around. So,
Well, what changed?
First of all, at the beginning, I ain't even trying to get that deep, but
No, we going deep.
Yeah,
Let's
for
go.
sure,
Let's go deep.
But it's not necessarily something changed. It's something that we missed. You know what I mean?
What was missed?
We just kind of we didn't realize how different we were, right? Which nothing's wrong with being different, but there are some things that you can't. It's just different space that you can't be different in, right? So you know, I'm more like a I'm locked in, work, let me grow, and really big on self-development.
Mm-hmm.
I'm huge on that. Reading books, watching podcasts, all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But she's more like, I want to be outside and have fun and enjoy myself, which is fine. But at some point, I was thinking, oh, this is great. It just balanced me out.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of can keep you from, instead of balancing you out, it's kind of like you're like, even though it's like you want to be balanced, but then it's like I can't be because I'm just so focused on what I have going on, what I need to do.
Bro, so it's so great. You bring up a few things.
Mm-hmm.
And where I want to start with it is how you guys met and what you connected on.
Okay.
What did you connect on when you met your girl? First, she was your girl. Mm-hmm. You guys were dating for 4 years or 3 years, and then took it to the next level.
Right.
What did you guys connect on when you met?
So this is the thing. It was kind of like I met her at elementary school, technically.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we went to the same elementary school, but I kind of hit her up when I came back after I had left school, as I started my business or whatever. I had left college or whatever. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I hit her up, had my own apartment. So I hit her up on Twitter. I'm like, hey, you know, sliding DMs. I'm like, what's up? What you got going on? So she hit me back. We was texting. And then it was, and that's why I feel like I just wasn't really paying attention, kind of just like rushed. Like she moved in like after the third day. Like, I mean, like three days hanging out, she moved in. Right. And it wasn't necessarily like a official move in. It was just kind of like
sleeping over a lot.
Yeah, sleeping over a lot. And then it just turned into, well, yeah, you're here.
Yeah.
So it's like we really didn't have time. Like we had time to learn each other, but we connected on the fact that I was like, okay, she had like little business she wanted to do and stuff like that and stuff that she wanted to do. So I'm like, I felt like she was, and she is still ambitious. Like, I'm like, oh my God, you're really ambitious. I feel like this, but you like to have fun too. I'm like, this is good. I need to learn this. I need to learn this because I don't know how to do both, right? I know how to work. That's it. I just know how to put work in. But that also, a lot of that stuff comes from we came from two different backgrounds, right? You know, she had both her mom and her dad. Of course, everybody got their own struggles, but I was a single mother household, right? Saw my mom struggling. I was the youngest, but I had to grow up super fast because my brothers and them was in prison and stuff like that. So I had no choice but to and everybody still looks at me like, you know, you're the breadwinner. So she doesn't have to worry about, you know, taking care of people and paying people bills that much. But me on the other end, it's kind of like, bro, I have to work. And then, you know, we had a baby. And that's when that might be actually what changed seriously after we had a kid.
What do you mean?
I started going extra hard, right? I started going extra hard. And, you know, to defense, it's like, I was so locked into work, and I started meeting people that was doing like $1 million days, start hanging out with these people. And I'm like, I got to go harder. What do you mean? I have to go harder. So start doing mentorships, teaching people how to do real estate, wholesaling, whatever. And then when I started doing that, I was like, boom, I'll be done working like 9, 10 o'clock because I got real estate all day. Then I got the podcast. I started the podcast at the same time. And then after that, I have to mentor my mentees, right? I have to get on another Zoom call or whatever. And, you know, what ended up happening is just like, she was like, you're not spending enough time with me or whatever. But one thing about it is you just can't ignore red flags in the beginning. That's something I learned.
So before you go there,
Yeah.
you guys had a baby, and it was like, man, I gotta go hard in the paint.
I gotta go hard, yeah.
And so if we were looking at a scale, things just kind of went this way. You're like all the way.
Yeah, for sure.
How was she being supplemented is the word that comes to mind? But how was she being taken care of and fulfilled in that time of just going all the way hard? Because
so the thing is, it wasn't that long of a time, right? It was probably like maybe 2 to 4 months.
Yeah.
Before I took it myself, say, you know what, I'm gonna let some stuff go. But how was she? It's like she wasn't necessarily, which I do understand that. But there's also some things that was going on that made me, you know, just look at her another way. That was just like, bro, I really just put my.
Hold on, we gonna get there.
I just put my work in. We
gonna get there, right? We gonna get there. But I do want us to acknowledge this, where because as men we go hard in the paint to provide for our family,
right?
And sometimes we forget the person that's there. And I've done this, and I have been divorced because of it. Chasing the American dream, kind of just going hard and ignoring things that was my responsibility in the sense of, and when I say responsibility, I'm talking about her emotions, her like, well, you're not responsible for a woman's emotions. They should be there. They should be able to have their own emotional control and all of that. But at the same time, that's part of my job, to understand her, to be there in partnership with her, right?
Right.
And I didn't do that. Do you think that when you went hard in the paint, that emotionally she may have been suffering?
Yes, absolutely. And then she told me that, or she tells me that, and it's like I get it, like I completely get it.
Yeah.
But
okay,
at the same time, it's just like you can't. I'm being there for you, and I think I am. But the thing is, though, when y'all say we're different, we're different. So like the things that you want to talk about and stuff like that, which I should still do it.
Yeah.
I don't be knowing what to talk about. So like it'd be like, all right, cool. She was like, even after you get off work or whatever, I got a routine. Even after I finish working, I got a routine, right? So I'm gonna do like I don't care if I worked out. I'm gonna do ab workout. I'm gonna read my Bible. I'm gonna pray. Then my son will be there. So you know we just playing and stuff like that. But we're not necessarily connecting like we should be, right? So it's kind of like we're laying here, you know, and I be want to go to sleep. I be go to sleep, right? Because I done woke up at 5 o'clock this morning and I've been going all day. So by the time it hit 10, 11, but I was staying asleep. I was staying up until 12, 1 o'clock. But it's like we'll sit, we both don't watch TV. So it's not like we're gonna sit and connect over a show. So what? And it's hard for me to even say what we connected on. I'm being completely honest.
No, this
like,
is what we need. We're in the man cave.
I'm being complete. I really don't know if I really, and that's why we're going through what we're going through now. Cause I really just don't know. I don't think we were meant to be. Forget all the stuff that was happening. I just think we were totally different people. Which that happens, right? We're young, so I'm like, I learned. You're learning yourself, and I'm learning myself at the same time. And I realized we were just having a good time. We didn't. It was nothing like saying, "Oh yeah, this is good for us to be together."
Yeah,
You could have just stayed somebody that I talked to. It didn't have to go that far,
right?
But we made it. It's like we forced it to go that far. Like it was easy, but it's because we wasn't going through anything, right? And
no, and I hear you, and I agree with you.
yeah,
I think that when it comes to marriage, though, and this is just my beliefs, it's not it has to go this way,
right.
When it comes to marriage, though, it's like you're locked in.
Yeah.
Right. You're locked in. Right. It's not dating. It's a binding thing.
Right.
Where you're locked in. It's your commitment in front of God and people that this is till death do us part. I do agree that there many people get connected, get married without having a purpose and a unified vision. It happens all the time. And it's probably the primary reason why most people get divorced is because they're not connected on a vision beyond sex, beyond fun, beyond trauma, beyond like just kids, right? Like, because when those things are healed or the kids grow up and they leave the home, then they have this empty nesters syndrome, and it's like, I'm learning this other person, and they go through it later on in life. But when you have a unified vision from the jump, regardless of what's going on, we're working towards something. There's something beyond all of these things that's going to come up in your life. Right. And so I do agree from where you said you guys didn't connect on, they'll connect on having fun, right? Yeah. And that's okay. But you're married. Yeah. But you're married, right? Not saying you're in jail. You're not in jail. Right. But marriage is I want to be, and I commit to be, and I commit to figuring it out. Right. So if we were to role play or to kind of go through figuring it out, are you willing to learn her the way that, not even the way anything, are you willing to learn her? Because some of the things that you've said is, I really don't know her. There's nothing we connect on and all of that type of stuff. Are you willing to learn her?
So, no, not now. But just being completely honest, not right now. In this state that I'm in, it's just right now where I'm at. Maybe later on down the line, maybe. But the thing is, though, it's like I have to get to know her. She has to get to know me, right? Mm-hmm. But there are some things where it's necessarily that she necessarily wasn't ready for, right? I grew up a lot faster than her. Like, so it's like she's 24, I'm 23, right? Mm-hmm. So, well, I said I was 24 earlier. I'm 23 still. Yeah. I said I'm 23 still. I turned 24 soon. But she really wasn't ready for necessarily commitment, right? Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, I started working on myself, and she saw that. She even admitted it.
How do you define commitment?
So commitment is when I say, you know what? I'm locked in on this. This is what I want to do. And I decided I'm not changing anything. But there is some things.
Hold on.
I got you. So that's what a commitment is, right? I'm just saying, you know what? This is it. This is the thing that I want to do. And I'm going to go after it relentless. That is a commitment.
So commitment doesn't start until there's opposition.
That's true.
Up until there's opposition, there's no way that you could show that you're committed. someone's commitment is only tested when there's some level of opposition.
Right.
Are you committed?
I guess not then. Because the thing is, there's some non-negotiables, bro, that just cannot take place.
I agree.
And that's just what it is, right?
Yeah.
And I told her that from the beginning. And that's why I go back to red flags in the beginning. Because I told her in the beginning, there's some, like, cheating is something I would not deal with. I just won't deal with it no matter what. So the thing is, if I'm out here and I'm doing what I got to do to make sure that I'm handling what I need to handle on my end, you also need to do the same thing. But the thing is, you're not doing the same thing. And that's where it comes in at, you know what, I told you this from the beginning. And I feel like as a man,
Yeah.
it's some things that I just can't go against, because now the reason that you keep doing what you're doing is because I keep letting it slide. I can't keep letting stuff slide as a man. Yes, we could say, yeah, be committed. Yeah, okay. And then when you it's a slippery slope out here.
So,
somebody
so that's a good point.
Yeah.
You keep letting things slide.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it goes back to the first question that I had, or one of the first questions, which was, are you a student of your wife?
Mm-hmm.
Because it sounds like you didn't know and understand where her cup wasn't being filled. Right? Because if her cup was filled, and like nobody tries to pour more into a filled cup. And so if her cup was filled, going outside to get the cup filled just wouldn't happen. My cup is already filled.
This the thing though. And this is what I'm saying. You just can't ignore red flags at the beginning.
Sure.
And that's why I was like, all right, cool. So she's saying you changed, and that's why I was doing what I was doing. But now let's go back and dissect it from the beginning. When we first got together, you was doing it. I was catching you, like text other people, stuff like that. I was catching you doing that at the beginning. I'm not gonna go into detail too much because just for her, right? Yeah. Just respect out of her. But the thing is, I catch you doing it at the beginning when we just in a relationship. We get engaged. I caught you maybe like a couple times then, but get engaged, you end up doing something still. And when we're married, you end up doing something. At this point, it's a pattern. There is nothing that I could have did that could have stopped her from doing what she did. It's nothing, because it's a pattern. Because you say, oh, well, we were good in the beginning, and you was doing this, and you was doing that. But the thing is, I've been the same person. I think, at least from mine, I've been the same, and from other people that be around me every day. I've been the same person. Like it's nothing that I was like, all right, I was having fun and spending more time with you. No, I was working the same amount pretty much.
Yeah.
But it seems like after, and she said I changed. She said, that's why I say something about the baby. I changed. She said I changed. Like I became a father. Like I became a father. Like I see him. I'm like, I want to see him. I want to be with him.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I try to acknowledge her when I first walk in before I even acknowledge him, because ultimately I understand that the wife or your significant other goes first, before the kids, before everything else.
Right.
They go first.
Right.
So the thing is, if you've been doing this the whole time, and I get what you're saying, because I believe that myself.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking, I'm like, nah, because after I started working on it, right? I mean, I'm spending time, I cut off streams of income. I stopped doing the mentorship because I'm like, you know what? This is not healthy for my relationship, for my household. So stop doing the mentorship, right? Stop taking my work phone with me, right? If anytime when I'm off work, boom, I'm done with the work phone. I put it down, right? And when I start doing that, get a vacation just so I can just make sure that I'm filling that cup, right?
Sure.
I started working on it. And then the thing is, you still do the same thing. But then you kind of tell me like maybe it was a little too late or whatever. But it's going on from the beginning, from the get, and that's what made me start thinking. Because I'm like, all right, because I always try to look at myself first. You should always do that as a man. Let me look at myself and see what I'm doing wrong instead of blaming you, saying, oh, you did this, you did this, you did it. No, because I think the same thing. I think the same way. It's a reason that you're doing this.
Yeah. Do you have an American car or a German car?
American
car. Picture going to the gas station and you're on E.
Right.
and you drive up to the pump, you get out, and you take one of the nozzles out, and you put it in, and you start filling your car with diesel.
Thanks. Yeah.
Would it work? Would your car work?
Nah, it's gonna tear up.
So you trying to fill her cup, do you understand what octane she needs to work?
Well, in my opinion, yes. Why? Because I feel like maybe she wasn't counseling, of course, but from listening to her, I'm thinking I'm thinking at least I understand. Now I can't say I know for sure, but I'm thinking I know, and I'm like, you telling me this is what you need? Men are very logical, right? So it's like men just period. Yeah, I'm very logical. I'm like, all right, cool. You say you need this, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna work on it.
Yeah.
That's it. It don't have to be. But then it's like in a woman's brain. And nothing against women. It's like they can't even tell you exactly what it is they need because it's still not doing the right thing still.
So what would make another woman different if
it's gonna be
that's the way you think?
And I believe that all not all women the same, but it's gonna be different. I tell people that all the time because I say that's why I got married, right?
Yeah.
I literally tell people because if you read The Way of the Superior Man, literally says it like you're gonna go from one thing and go to another, you're gonna have the same problem.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to figure out what you want in the beginning. But I understand you saying, well, you went all the way through and got married, so you got to work on it.
Well, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that challenges would look different regardless of which relationship you're in. But I'm also saying that unless you're a student of your wife, to understand and really understand what she needs. What octane gas does she need me to put in? Does she require 93 octanes? Or is she good at 91? Does she need a Louis Vuitton bag? Or is she good shopping at Ross?
Right.
Because if you go buy the Louis Vuitton bag, she would be like, oh, thank you. Yeah. But it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Right? But are you giving her what she needs? And worst, if you're putting diesel, now you're damaging the car, right?
Right.
And so there are love languages, 5 love languages that people talk about. I'm sure you've read it.
Right.
What if you're giving the wrong love language? And I like to say being a student of your wife is very different because than just asking the question. Because, like you said, sometimes they may miscommunicate what they actually need. But being a student, you're based on observation. And you're based on like, okay, she's saying this. I realize when we do this, she responds a certain way. Or like, what am I not doing? And so asking a question isn't enough.
Right.
Even as a man, like... I did that where you ask a question and you're just like single focused. That's the only thing that you do because that's what you told me. So that's what I'm going to do versus I hear you, but there's some other auxiliary things that I notice you really like because on a self-discovery process, she may not even know how to express.
And the thing is her love language, I think it changed.
That's fair.
Just watching and then just off of what she say herself, like because I buy stuff. That's fine. She's loved it at the beginning. Like I just buy stuff. We go shopping. I do whatever I got to do. It's cool. Provide for the household. You don't got to pay no bills. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like, just enjoy yourself. Live life. But then eventually that stopped becoming enough for her, and she said that. She said that. So it's like I get that, and I totally understand where she's coming from, and I honestly do respect that because. It can change, right? Stuff that you needed at one point in life, you don't need it anymore. It's like you've been doing that. Now I'm changing. I'm a different person. But it's like, are you really a different person though? Yeah, because you say, but like you said, you got to observe. That's just something I got to work on. I should have worked on that, and then I just took that. I should just observe, right, and just see what was going on. But I thought I was observing.
I mean, there's observing, and then there's the together growth, right? Where you guys are able to get assessments and all that stuff. And so it's more based off of like there's this assessment that we did, my wife and I, through the business. and we did what's called a predictive index test. A lot of people do like the DISC test, but the predictive index test, when my business coach did the test and he read the test, and bro, he said to me, he said, Keston, you got to allow this lady to be who she is naturally. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't even know this man yet, right? Like, we just hired him. This is one of the first calls. We did the test, and now he's kind of breaking down our, like, who we are.
Right.
And I'm like, he said, she is 6 months away from shutting down because she's living in a different, a different being as to who she really is, from who she really is. And you need to let her be herself. And when he started to describe the things that, based on the assessment that she was doing, it was all the things that I was pushing her to do. It was like, you gotta post more. You gotta be more in front. Like, we gotta show that we're this couple. And so I was pushing her to be in the front with me when she's really our integrator. She likes doing things on the back end. Like, she would get everything ready, fixed up, and all of that so that I could get out and shine. But I wanted her to do the same thing. And based on the assessment and how she answered, it showed it. Bro, I broke down in tears. I broke down in tears because I was pushing her to be who she was not.
You know what I think a problem is with me? I think I was allowing her to be herself naturally too much. Let's be facts. Let's talk facts here. I don't ask you. You don't cook. You don't clean, and that's not saying I don't care about that.
Yeah,
that's stuff you could pay for, right?
Yeah,
I don't need. I don't need a woman to do that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm not setting boundaries that I'm not comfortable with either, right? So I'm like, you want to be out with your friend? Go ahead. 5 o'clock in the morning, cool. 6 o'clock in the morning, cool, right? But then when I try to be like, hey, I don't like it. Like, I don't like that, really. You know what I mean? Because I naturally think you should know that, and people know that. We're not gonna. So we could always be all trying to be all deep, but you know it don't make sense for you to be out when you got a husband and you got a kid at 6 o'clock in the morning. We know that.
So why do you think? You think she knows that? You think she knows that you're saying wrong?
Yeah, right.
Why do you think
it's our perspective,
she does it if she knows it?
Because I didn't stop it, right? Because, well, you're right. But the thing is, I know she knows.
What do you mean? What do you mean I'm right? What do you mean by that?
I guess she didn't know it's wrong. But then when I say it's wrong, guess what? It should be some type of respect somewhere. That's all I ask for as a man, just respect. That's all we want.
So we're both into personal development. So let's go here, right? If it is that she's doing behaviors that is right to her, is it fair to say, just like somebody that has an addiction, it will take some work to overcome and to get better at, or even to be even able to acknowledge, like, oh crap, I am a drunkard.
Yeah. But
no buts. I want you to answer that question.
No, I want to say but.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say but. That is true, because you can't. It's hard to overcome things, but you have to also try.
But have we gotten to the first stage of acknowledgement?
Yes. So
she did get to the place of saying, you know what, this is wrong.
You know what, take that back. No. No, actually. And that's what's kind of, because I mean, what's wrong with it? What do you mean? There's nothing out there that late.
So there goes the first thing.
Yeah, acknowledgement, yep.
And if it is, as the leader in the home, you haven't been able to show effectively, think about your wholesale team, right? If someone on your team doesn't understand how to make a call to a seller, they don't understand that they got to collect the person's pain and the timeline and all that type of stuff, and you fire them without teaching it to them, do you think that's fair?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. That's not fair.
So right now, there's someone on your team that doesn't understand the four pillars that they need to be able to execute on something, but you're ready to fire them because you think it's obvious. Like, that's obvious. You should know that.
Right.
But you just said in your business, you don't expect them to know it.
Right. For sure.
Talk to me.
So the only reason I expect people, you can't really, when you put it that way, yes. But I feel like business and relationships, it could be different. It's not the same all the time. So everything isn't just always 1 + 1 = 2. That's not what it is, right? So the thing is, if I told you it was what I told you I say in the beginning, we talked about this for years. Not even just the staying out part, but the going outside of our covenant for years. That is just, I expect people just to be who they are at some point, right? Because we talk about it a lot, and you understand that it's wrong. You know that it's wrong. Now that part, let's stay on one topic, right? Let's stay on staying out late, right? You're right. That may be something wrong, but that's not why I made the decision that I made, right? To be able to just separate and just leave. That's not why. Because that's something, honestly, it didn't bother me that bad, right? That was like, that's something we could work on, staying out that late, try to come in at 3, right? Let's just work on it because we actually were doing that. We were, all right, cool. I know you want to be out late, and I get it. It's fun. But instead of being out at 6, how about we go to 3? Then we'll try to go down to 12, 1 o'clock. But of course, I didn't just jump to, all right, you're out. You need to be home at 11 p.m. Like, that's so crazy. First of all, I still want you to live your life. I want you to be who you are naturally. But on another note, there's things of, hey, we know it's not right to step out on people, right? I don't have to teach you that, correct?
But I want to go back to something you just said. Yeah, I want you to be who you are naturally.
Right.
My mind is kind of stuck there.
Okay.
The reason why is because if I were who I was naturally, I wouldn't even be married, bro.
That's why that's what humans need guidelines.
I agree. And so you allowing her to be who she, and I say allowing, you don't have control, right?
Yeah.
But you not being able to have that conversation about who you are naturally, especially early on in the relationship, and now she's naturally being a single person in a marriage, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so even though those may be things that she carried out, I still look at you as the leader of the home.
And that's very true. That's why I be saying, like, dang, it's kind of, because you look at how anybody judges man, I think so, is how their kids treat them and their wife, right? They're like, all right, cool, you're allowing that to happen. That's what I'm saying. I kept allowing it to happen, and I tried to tell that can't happen, but you keep doing it. After I tell you it can't happen, at some point, I gotta just be like, you know what? Just gotta take your hands off of them.
Well, I think there are multiple ways to look at it, right?
Yeah.
And how I choose to look at it, because one of my things that I enjoy studying and learning and always trying to growing is leadership.
Right.
And if we have a child, if we have someone on our team that we communicate in a certain way and they don't receive information in that way, then it's our job to know how they receive information. This goes back to, again, do you think you're a student of your life? Because learning how they receive information is like the most important thing. I'll share with you an example. When I was trying to get respect from my wife, and I'm like, you don't respect me, you X, Y, and Z. It wasn't that she didn't respect me. She didn't know how to. Right? She respected me, but there were things that she didn't know how to do.
Right.
And so as a student of her, I had to realize that growing up in a single home with her mom, all she's seen is her mom fend for herself. Those paradigms, habits, and behaviors were passed down to her. So she was fending for herself for a long period of time. In comes husband, who is now like, hey, you could stop fending for yourself and just trust me. You need to respect me as the man in the home. Well, hold on. She doesn't have those habits. She hasn't seen that. So it's always going to be a natural thing for her to fend for herself and to do what is respectful for her.
Right.
Right? Because she doesn't understand the dynamic of a marriage. She hasn't seen it. She does have uncles and stuff like that she's seen from a distance. But the level that I desired hadn't seen it. And so what worked for us really well was because I understood that, I stepped out of it's almost like watching your life on TV. And so I stepped out of it and I'm analyzing, okay, these are some of the traits that I'm seeing. But when we go to counseling or when we go to like any seminar or whatever, that person could say the exact same thing that I've been saying, and she receives it. That's the reason why we're always in a coaching program, even for my marriage and the business, because she did not. It's way better now.
Yeah, right.
She didn't know how to trust me yet because we're pursuing this entrepreneurship thing that she knows I hadn't done. I had started an Amazon business before, but I wasn't like this a big entrepreneur or anything like that. So there's a level of, I ain't finna put my whole life in your hands and not have a say or a vast opinion in it. And again, it's not about her not having a say. It's just about how she receives information. And so I made sure, and I paid. I paid with cash
right.
to have the right mentors in our pocket to be able to help guide because I knew that receiving from me, I needed to build up in navigating the ship. And so now that she sees my credibility and my hunger and all of that, she's given me way more slack.
Right.
Because I learned how she received information. Like, as a man, it took a lot of ego suppression to do that because you should just listen to me. I'm your husband. You listen to everybody else, and there were times when I'll blow up and I'll say it. I'll say it. Like, you listen to everybody else besides me. But I had to learn the player on the team. Because for us to win the championship, I got to know how to communicate to all the players on the team.
That's true.
You lose a championship if you're talking English and she speaks Spanish. It's no communication there.
Right.
This goes all the way back to, are you a student of your wife?
Right. And you're correct. But at some point, not at some point, let's just talk about something called loyalty here.
Sure. There's that. There's definitely that.
Like, we can go, and if that's what I'm saying, that's the only thing that could make me say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. That's the only thing. Anything else, like, I could tell her to do stuff, oh, you don't do it. Okay, I want you to stop hanging out with this person. You don't stop hanging with this person. I'm not going to leave because of that. The only thing that can make me leave, and obviously I didn't do a good job at it soon enough. I'm just being completely honest. I didn't do a good job at it soon enough because I said that's something that I wouldn't, unloyalty is not something I'm willing to deal with. But I kept letting it happen. So what you're saying, I feel like that'll work great for us, for me and her, honestly. But that unloyalty part is something that she has to, or that anybody, not even just her, will have to work on themselves.
Sure.
Because I can tell you, you can go to anybody and they say, you know what, be loyal, be loyal, be loyal. But
Yeah.
it's like, how do you teach somebody to be loyal? Just don't. Of course, I'm sorry, let me not go there. Let me not go there because I was about to do it again. But I can't teach you how to be loyal. Loyalty is something that's just embedded into you. I feel like you just know. I can't say you just know, obviously, but I'm just going, with this, you just know, like, if I'm with somebody and they take care of everything or whatever, and they ain't about just taking care of everything, they're not stepping out on me, and I see that they're trying. At some point, it's like, you know what? You're just making a conscious decision, even though you know it's wrong, that I'm going to go do what I want to do.
And I hear you on that. And there's a part of me that definitely agrees with what you're sharing. And the reason why it sounds like I'm always kind of just coming back to you is because I am, right? Like,
right.
She's not here. I don't want to have like a whole conversation about all those things because I think that's unfair to her.
It is.
And I by no means want to paint her in a bad light because I do think that there are things that lead to other things.
Yep.
And so in this conversation, I'm going to find every way for you to take accountability.
Yeah, and you know, this one, I honestly do believe it's my fault for not leaving earlier. No, I'm just kidding. Let me stop. I'm just joking. Y'all don't look at me like that. No, seriously. I honestly do believe that some of it is my fault, especially like the most recent ones. It's like, all right, cool, you were doing it because you say, you know, I wasn't there for emotion like I should have been, or, you know, you were just focused on this, or you felt like an option or something like that. Option towards other things, not for people, but just like, because you could be an option. You can make somebody an option to work, you know, religion, whatever. You can make somebody an option like, oh, you're not that important. But I feel like I did make her feel, I take that accountability. I feel like I did make her feel that way. Even if you're not trying to do that, because sometimes you could just slip into it, right? You can slip into it after you've been seeing some things and you're exposed to different things. You're just like, dang, I need this. Like, you can wait.
Yeah.
You can wait, but I need this. But you can't obviously expect anybody to just wait on you.
Do you think has she ever seen this type of behavior and like on her side and in her home and stuff like that?
Absolutely. And that's what that's the problem, probably. Not probably. That's probably what it is. I mean, her dad and her mom, they're good, but I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
After we talked about it with them, you know, it was something that we learned that, hey, this is something like that, not necessarily that has taken place, but something like that.
So
it's a learned behavior, maybe.
Now these paradigms, bro, that's passed down from one generation to the next, it controls who we are. And so, like, she may not even know and understand why she's doing what she's doing. And it's almost like treating an addiction or a sickness as a real symptom. Because when we commit to to marriage, we then start to understand all these things that we didn't see before, right? You start to know somebody else. And to anyone that's listening and you are dating, if you're in this dating phase and you're not married, please understand family history, understand like all those things. Those are probably the most important things that you could know, because they're going to act just like their family. There are things that they're not going to like, and you could ask those questions, but there are other things that, like, when they show it to you, please believe them, right? Please believe them. And not understanding those things, bro, and accepting those things and treating it like a disease or an addiction, I think that's where most people drop the ball in marriages, because they say, you should know. Yes, I should know.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever talked to someone that knows that they're doing something wrong, and then you're like, well, why are you doing it? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
So then
yeah.
stop doing it.
Mhm.
You know, but
For
they
sure.
do it again
Mm-hmm.
because a paradigm is more powerful than your own thoughts.
Mm.
A paradigm controls your behavior. And so this is like subconscious level now, right?
Yep.
And so it's going to control them way more than they think they could do it. It's what stops people from being great entrepreneurs. They have a great idea like, oh, I'm going to jump into real estate. But their paradigm pulls them back into who they were prior to. That's the reason why most people quit. Because the power of that paradigm is so deep. And I think it's the same thing that's controlling right now.
Mm-hmm.
The way to overcome it is doing what you're doing, which is diving all the way into personal development and rewiring yourself.
Yeah.
And so not understanding that, I think, is also in play here, because I'm not sure if you treated it as a symptom. You treated it as just a wrong thing.
Yeah, and that's true. I definitely did, and I definitely do, and I definitely am. but I just want to say this for anybody that's pretty much watching. It's kind of, you, and that's what I understand what you're saying. You like, well, it's like, yeah, you're saying all this, but you decided to be with them, and you decided to get married, which it is. It's true. I've made that decision, and I knew those things were something that was a problem. Of course, we all just think, oh, that'll change, or it won't always be like that. But then once you get into a marriage, it's like, oh, wow, I really still have to deal with this. And now we actually have to deal with it. And that's why I just tell people that I talk to and people that, you know, that may ask for about dating and, oh, man, you got married. How can just pay attention to what's going on in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to that and then ask, why are you doing this? You should ask that. You should like, what is, because you got two things, especially when you're dating. You can either try to work on it or you can just leave in dating. But like you say, in marriage, that's totally different. It should be where we're just committed and we should just work through it.
Yeah, I think that people need more tools, man.
Yeah.
They need more tools for. It's almost like rules of engagement in dating, right? Mm-hmm. Where you ask these questions to know more.
Yeah.
Because I think you connect on certain things that makes you feel like, oh, we have a great relationship. No, you have a good connection. You have a good connection. You don't have a great relationship. Mm-hmm. And not understanding the biggest thing that you can understand and need to connect on is a purpose and vision for your marriage.
Yeah.
Without that, like, you could go through all types of hurdles, but if you understand the purpose, the mission and vision for why I'm married, you would fight through it regardless of what happened, because there's something bigger than us as to why we're married. And I was so happy that I learned that before getting remarried to my wife, Jazz. And so we sat down and we had a lot of these conversations before getting married.
Yeah.
That makes us fight through the things that we go through.
Right.
You know, because we know that after we're annoyed with each other, we got a big vision to go after, man.
Right.
And so that's really important. So what's next for you when it comes to relationships?
Well, what I think, we are, let me tell you, I'm already done. I'm just saying, but not necessarily I'm already done, because it's always, you always can try to fix it. It's like, you still could go back. But what's next for me is pretty much trying to just come to get some type of closure and see. I do want to still go to counsel. I still want to try to figure out what is that, where did I mess up at? And then I don't even worry about her, really where I messed up at, right? Because you can't worry about somebody. You got to figure out what I did wrong and what I cannot fix. Mm-hmm. But what's next for me is, I think I do need to just be with myself for a while.
Nice.
Right? And that's what I'm doing. I'm not out here, like, I made the conscious decision. Even though we're already going through the process and everything and separated, moved out, separate households and everything. You know, I already filed for whatever we got to do. I need to be with myself to just learn what is it that I did wrong in this whole entire situation. And I made a conscious decision. I'm celibate. I'm not finna. I could go out here, talk to different girls and all that stuff, and try to have sex and just be young and be 23 years old. But I just feel like that's not the right thing to do, because if I just come out of a situation where I'm hurt or whatever, I feel like the same things just happen over again, which we know that. So it's just something that I feel like she needs to work on. Just be alone, because I feel like we moved extremely fast. And anybody from the outside looking in would say that. Like, you guys just moved extremely fast. You guys didn't take time to, get the counseling that you needed. Go through the actual process of learning each other. And that's where that's what we both made our mistakes at. So it's not necessarily about, because she's a great woman, right? She's a great person. She's very nice, very caring. And that's something that I definitely loved about her. I love about her still. Very caring. She cares about people, but at the same time, it's just, I know it's some stuff that we both have to work on.
Yeah, individually
for a while, right?
Yeah.
And we say this, even though we talk about it, even though we're doing this and stuff like that, it's like, it's not ever a chance that we can't cross that bridge again. Like, it's not that. It's just, when can that happen?
Sure.
She feels like she need to be alone and work on herself. She's going through counseling already. She literally started going to counseling and everything.
Nice.
It's my turn to go get counseling. Yeah. I just haven't done it yet, because we always think other stuff is more important. And that's just me being completely honest with y'all. I don't want to lie, right? I just feel like I'm busy. I won't put money in other places. Not here, though. I don't feel like doing that. Let me worry about this right now. But right now, just being trying to be individuals for a little while.
Yeah.
Learn who you are. Get whatever out of your system that you want to get out your system. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. And she knows, man. I'm not doing anything, but go ahead, have a blast, because I feel like that just you need to go through your counseling. Maybe she probably won't even want to do it no more. After she goes to her counseling, she might be like, dang, I don't even want to do that no more. But just being able to learn ourselves. And that's why next relationally, just be separate for a little while.
Yeah. Man, thanks for being so vulnerable.
Yeah,
I really do appreciate that. And I would highly, highly, highly recommend going to counseling, going to therapy and getting it out, and really getting under the things before it turns to ice. Because, and talking from experience, like, I did like one session when I got divorced, and I heard one of my counselors tell me that divorce is a death that never dies. And so what he means by that is you mourn as if the person is dead, but they're always alive, because every time you see them, you relive that death, because you think about all the things that you've done. And so you see them, and there's this emotional thing that happens. And learning how to overcome that took me intentionally learning how to overcome it. It didn't just happen. So I'm going to highly encourage. And now my ex-wife and I, like, my wife, like, we all get together, her guy and her kids. I take her kids and go hang out with them, with my son, and we're good. I don't have an emotional attachment there anymore, because I dealt with it. And so once you're able to take the emotional attachment piece out, it now turns into wisdom.
Right.
Right? Because if the emotions is there, it's the emotion. You take the emotions out, it turns into wisdom, and now you could share that experience without any negative type of thought and all of that. And if I could give you any hope, is that it gets better.
Yeah. And I honestly, I believe that. Like, it's not like, I don't think I'm like scorned from it, where I think I take this everywhere with me. It's kind of like, I understand, but of course I need to go to counseling, and I want to go to counseling to get more understanding, even if, or we're already going through it or whatever, that's okay with me. That's okay. I've accepted it.
Yeah.
But I also want to work on myself for
100%.
anybody else that comes down the line, maybe in the future.
100%.
And say if it's her, that's cool with me.
Yeah.
But maybe right now, and I appreciate you even bringing me on, because this is just a counseling session, right? You just like, this was a session.
Yeah.
This was a session. I needed that. Forget coming on here talking about what to do in business and giving advice. No, I needed this because this is something that, we don't think about this a lot, especially as entrepreneurs, and then we're trying to perform at a high level. And I think everybody, pretty much everybody that go to our gym, they like performing at a high level in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So we can negate the fact that we don't know it all. And that's why I'm glad I'm here, because I am only 23 years old.
Yeah, man.
I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
And I know, at least I know that. And that's why I was trying not to combat you too much, because I'm like, it's taking me so much to be like, no, you're just wrong. Let me just get up and walk out of here because you're wrong. But at the same time, you said a lot of things that I'm like, oh, okay, wow, I actually need to take this with me, whether that's with her or that's later on in the future with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I honestly just want her to be happy. And I said we're pretty cool. Like, it's not like we both accepted it. We both are like, we're cool with it. It's fine. Because it's not like just my decision, right? It's not like, oh, you're just leaving me. Like, no. We both is like, you know what? This just may not be it.
Bro, thank you for being so open. Thank you for being so vulnerable. I think it's really mature of you to have a conversation like the one we just had, but even more mature to have sat through the entire conversation. So I want to give you your props,
check out,
bro.
y'all. I didn't check out. I didn't check out. You know how you could be here? You just check out mentally. I didn't do that. I was like, let me just listen.
No, man. I like major props, bro. Thanks for being here. Guys, if you want to be a part of a community on the Man Cave Talk, like today was a real Man Cave Talk. We're going to start having Zoom calls once a month where men get together and we're able to have honest, raw conversations. Podcast may not be for everyone, but there's always a space and a place for us entrepreneurs to be able to dive deep and have these types of conversations. Until the next episode, peace.